Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Circle of the Eight podcast. This is your host, Devious, what IBC, alongside with my brothers and other mothers, the hat, Matt's World with the hats, and that is MGC Matt the Steamboat with the Undertaker hat. You also have the man with the 12-inch pythons that saves you from retribution and everything else, and that is Mike, the great American hero, Mike Wolf. And today we have a special guest, an international superstar from Bologna, Italy. He is the pro wrestling's Rebel Beauty, and that is Nico Narciso. How are you?
What a great introduction, guys. I loved it. It's probably the best I've ever got. You should do ring announcing. Do you do ring announcing?
I don't.
That's pro level, guys. Congratulations. How are you guys? It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's right now it's 9 p.m. over there on your side. In Bologna, right here, it's noon on our side. So it's very honored that we actually have an international star like yourself joining us. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start off the question first. How did it begin? What began Nico Narciso's career in pro wrestling? What caught your eye? And who did you, idolize? And how did it all begin? How did it start, pro wrestling for you?
Well, the wrestling passion has been with me forever. I have one memory of the first match that I ever watched. It was, I assume it was a European promotion because it was on Eurosport. And probably it could have been like UK stuff back then, like in the early 90s. Like I was 4 years old. It's legitimately like one of my first memories in life. And I got struck. It's like, it was like a tag team match. I have no idea what the promotion was. I have no idea what the wrestlers were. But that's my very first memory. And I said, this is the greatest thing on earth. Then I picked it back up like later on in life, and I got like into it when I was 12, 13. And Italy had a real big boom when I was that age in terms of wrestling popularity, etc. with like the great years of SmackDown, That was when Italy, when wrestling became really popular in Italy, and they came here, WWE came here for a Raw episode as well in 2006. So that was a perfect age, because when you're 12, 13, you can get passionate about anything and really, dwell into it for a long time. It all came down when the Chris Benoit thing happened. Also because of a big protest from Customers Association, because they didn't want, wrestling on national television if wrestling was related to such things, that was understandable. That was probably not right towards wrestling itself, but, that's what happened. And then the boom got away, the trend got away of Italy, but I stayed into it. So when I lived in Vancouver, as I was telling you off air, I went to local shows, ECCW shows. I got to see one Kyle O'Reilly match when he was like super young. He was like 21 against Billy Swede, that is a resident Vancouver guy. And I saw many of their independent local shows. Then when I came back to Italy, I lost attachment to it for a while. And then when I first got the opportunity to start training, I said, I'm young enough again. I can start. I can try it out, and maybe something will happen out of it. And the rest is history.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome.
So for you as a fan first, what was one of the things or some of the things that you found that you discovered once the curtain was removed and you got to see behind the scenes and how it was really like inside of the ring? What's some of the things that you discovered?
I think, I don't know. I was very interested in the behind the scenes aspects of wrestling very early. Because I didn't want to be fooled around, I knew that it was not a sport, and therefore, even though I could approach wrestling as a mark, still I tried to understand what this business was about. So when it got in the back, nothing really big maybe episodes, not like common things of wrestling backstages really surprised me, you know. Maybe there was a few episodes, but not something structural, if you know what I mean. The real thing that really changed my perspective was how about show business wrestling is, because I've always seen it as a sport. I'm a sports guy. I play 3 sports regularly other than wrestling in my daily life. So yeah, I really got into wrestling because of the athleticism, the technique, all the spectacular stuff that was about the legitimate sport that wrestling is. And I didn't really get how much of a show business it was. So maybe like this, after 5 years of career, I can probably say that that's the biggest change of perspective that I got getting into professional wrestling.
Mr. Matthew?
So I gotta say, it's a little bit of a silly question, and also like
Go ahead.
Together with a fun question. What's the wrestling scene in Italy like, and are there any wrestlers that do this thing?
Of course there are. There is one in the United States. It's based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mambo Italiano. He just debuted in NXT like 3 weeks ago. He was the guy. He was the guy that I wrestled first. My very first match is still online. He was called Andrew Winston. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's still online.
And he does this.
I was terrible. Yeah, it's abusive and fucking outrageous towards
I'm
wrestling.
pretty sure you're doing this acting too.
No, he used not to do it. He was like super babyface there, and he had like this, I don't know, like a generic babyface character. He was very underdeveloped compared to like what he is now,
Yeah.
He was not even called Mambo Italiano. He's from my same region, and we share dialect, for example. So we didn't train together. So we really got like, hey, I'm debuting against you. Great deal. And the match was acceptable itself. It's just like I'm moving, like I'm terrified. I didn't even know that I was debuting with this ring name, because I didn't decide it. I wanted to do something completely different. And then my wrestling school said, I think you're going to do the pretty boy. And I said, why? Well, because reasons. And I said, okay, let's do it. I want to wrestle. I want to wrestle, yeah. So I was really scared. I was embarrassed as hell. So I was really woody, it was not like a smooth performance by me. But the match itself was acceptable.
This is question. What does this? What's it exactly mean? It's just like WTF.
It can mean many things, actually. If you want to get further into this, gesture, we can talk about it. But I was linking that to Mambo Italiano because he does that as a heel. And he's a great guy. I love him. I hope he's gonna hear the podcast because I have nothing but respect for him.
You should get him. Yeah.
You should mention it to him.
I might send him. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, definitely. So you started off with Bologna Wrestling Team, right? That's where you first started your career.
That's my home promotion, and it's still my training and workplace.
Okay. And who was the head trainer there in Bologna Wrestling Team? Red Scorpion. There you go. Yeah. And how did the the Bologna Wrestling Team, how did it work out? How was the training there? Was it really like tough, very competitive? Like how was it when you barely began in Bologna, like the wrestling team?
So I think we're one. I think I am. I don't think I am. Along with other wrestlers, one of the guys of the old guard. So we started when Red Scorpion started training people. Okay, and me and 2 other guys mainly are its biggest success as of now. We did very good in the European scene. Maybe I got more into England. Other wrestlers got more into other nations scene. Very deeply. But yeah, back then it was more about being educated to wrestling as an art form and as a business in terms of backstage relationships, and also human relationships among the Bologna Wrestling Team people, because as it was starting, as the Bologna Wrestling Team thing was starting, there was a lot of, to set up. There was the basement of the basics, basically, of the school to build up from the very bottom. Now, the academy has got much further. Now we have a very big space, we have a ring set up, and we can train whenever we want. Of course, now the COVID thing is, not helping us, but we're still training, and as far as we know, tomorrow we got training as well. So yeah, and now it's definitely harder in terms of athleticism and in terms of training brutality, training heaviness, because now we really focus on cardio a lot and on being, adapting to how well the wrestling scene in Italy is developing in the last few years. So one of the things Red Scorpion says always, if you want to be good, if you want to be respected as a pro wrestler, you got to train as a respected athlete, as an athlete that respects the sport, respects what he does in the ring. Because if you're good to do, like, flips, and if you're good to remember multiple spots, that's good for you. But if you're like out of gas 5 minutes into the match, nobody's going to believe you that you're good anyway, and you're not going anywhere. So, that's the thing that we really focus on now. Training very good, being as athletic as we can be. And yeah, it's, I'd say it's working.
That's great. That's a great mindset. But way how Red Scorpion thinks, that's really great a mindset of it. Love it. That's really good.
Oh yeah. Is that definitely the most successful trainer in Italy, if not the most successful wrestler? There are many other wrestlers that can, that have a very good resume that can compete with him. But as a trainer, there's nobody that developed wrestlers that did as good as we did in Bologna Wrestling Team in the last 5 years.
That's awesome. Mike?
That's so you've mentioned that you were part of the old guard, when it kind of all got started. Have you also started nowadays? Have you started a teacher role? Have you taken?
I've been having a teacher role for many years now. I sometimes take the younger guys and try to teach him stuff. I even had my own class 1 year ago. Because the detachment of the central part of the training was needed. But as of now, we got only one place of training, and it's of course right that Red Scorpion takes the class because he's the most experienced, he's the best one, and he's the one that can teach us the most amount of things. So like. I've trained guys in the UK as well. I've did like seminars in the UK with Full Tilt Wrestling. So I've got a little experience of a trainer, but I'm not at the level of, opening the school, maybe in another place, maybe in my hometown or like somewhere else, and starting something not new, also always attached to Bologna Wrestling Team, but something from the bottom up, like the Red Scorpion did. So it's good for me to take more years training, more years of knowledge in order to start training one day.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. Yeah,
100%. 100%. And how can you compare like, Italy's professional wrestling style towards like, like how there's Japanese strong style, like there's also like British strong style and American style,
Canadian,
Canadian
or
style
lucha
lucha libre. How do you see, obviously Italian's professional style, like what do you see in it? Like, what's the comparison, or do you believe that it's more tougher than the rest of them, or are you like
a national style?
Yeah, exactly.
There's not enough of a culture to have a national style that's recognizable anywhere, and I'm not going to lie about that. I even found, hard time like developing my own style into this kind of environment, because of course, like what you try to do in the first years of wrestling is try to replicate the stuff that works, that you see, either on TV or on live shows. So it's hard to say, hey, I focused on developing this style. It will be a lie. I think that my school really focuses on the good aspects of entertainment and of hard technical work. But for example, we don't do like many complicated spots or flips. It's not our stuff. There are other schools that really try to put a lot of stuff in their matches, and then they have their own fan base, and it's good for their, it's as an art form that is now so far in its development. Wrestling can be taken in any of these aspects, and whatever works is good for the business anyway. We're a small, as a sport, as a business in Italy, we're a small reality that needs to grow, and whatever works for the people that buy their tickets to come to our shows, or follow us on Instagram, get us, exposure in whatever sense. Whatever works is good. I don't say that there should be, or there is a style that is more developed in Italy in any sense.
Okay.
I gotta say that you're mentioning of wrestlers from Italy wrestling in other countries in Europe. What are the other countries you've wrestled in Europe altogether? Like, have you wrestled in Russia, Germany, France?
No,
Spain?
I've wrestled in Switzerland, Austria, Malta, Germany, and the UK. Mainly in the UK because I got like a run in
What was Malta like?
I wrestled in Malta 4 times. Yeah.
It's such a small island,
There is a wrestling school. There is a promotion called Pro Wrestling Malta, and I've got to wrestle in 4 of their shows.
Like, in my mind, I'm just envisioning you guys wrestling in the castle there. That's the only thing I like.
The first venue was really spectacular. It was into like an amusement park, something like that. It was an estate, like super big mansion with huge buildings and everything. And the thing inside, the place we were was really, really fast. Really, how do you say? I don't get the word now. Stylish. I don't know how to say that. Cozy. Yeah, that's the word. Cozy. I wasn't having the word. Malta was always a particular experience. It's cool to go there, and have a wrestling match, and then spend the rest of the 2 days lying on the beach.
I'm a history buff, so that must have been like a really old house then. I'm guessing that mansion.
I don't know. I legitimately have no idea of its history, background. I didn't ask, but you can look it up because it's called Monte Cristo Estate, so it's probably pretty famous.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's so cool. I wish I had video of that. That would have been so cool. That
there's pictures, and there's no video online.
People wrestling in an old mansion like that. That's so cool.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah.
And so, how did it come about after with Bologna, wrestling team? And I know, like, I'm not sure if it's also around another promotion I see in your resume that you actually perform for pro wrestling live events. That's another company.
Yeah, that's Switzerland. Yeah,
that's Switzerland. Okay, so that was from Switzerland. How was the experience?
That's Italian Switzerland, because I don't know if you know it, but Switzerland has 3 parts. One is French, one is German, and one is Italian. The French and the Italian part are really, really small, and they're of course attached to the border with the France and Italy, respectively. And the German part is the bigger one. It has like 2 or 3 cantons, I don't remember. But yeah, that's the Pro Wrestling Live Events. It's promotion of the Italian part of the Switzerland, where we're based now. We're resident wrestlers there. Luca is a really good promoter. I love Baltazar. Is a great guy. I've wrestled him many times as well. I wrestled him for the Italian Championship too when he came down to Italy. So yeah, Pro Wrestling Live Events is one of the places really to go in continental Europe to see good wrestling.
What city in Switzerland was it?
Lugano. It's called Lugano. It's really close to Milan, actually. It's much closer to Milan than it is to Bern, for example, which is the
Switzerland's one of my favorite countries.
It's good, huh?
Yeah, Switzerland's one of my favorite countries. So I've been to Geneva. I've only been to Geneva and Zurich, so I've never been to Lugano.
I've never been to both cities. No, I've never been to Geneva, Zurich. I've been to Lugano. I've been to Lucerne, which is amazing. It's one of the best cities you'd go to, man. It's beautiful. Yeah, Switzerland is beautiful. It's really beautiful. I really felt lucky when I got to wrestle in German Swiss because the road trips with the car there are amazing. Like it's very good to go around and say, yeah, I'm doing this for a job. Great.
That's awesome. Mike, you're on mute. There you go.
So a lot of I know that you've traveled to many of these places, and a lot of them have different languages nationally. Yeah. So when you deliver promos, and by the way, your English is excellent. So
it's near very good. I wish it was better because I know there's not enough of good English speakers in Italy. So whenever the people from English speaking countries or America or whenever they hear my English anyway and how fluent I am, they always get, yeah, damn, this guy has a very good English. But I know that it could get much better, and I could be much better promo if my English was better. I don't have, especially in 2020 when I wrestled 5 matches because of the coronavirus, I don't have many occasions to use it, and also to practice promos in English because of course whenever we practice it's in Italian because we have an Italian audience. So I hope it's going to be one of our strength points in the future, but as of now I'm not really satisfied.
Do you speak any other languages?
A little bit of Spanish, just to order food and maybe ask directions or asking girls out. This stuff.
Of course.
There you go. Exactly, especially with the girls out. Definitely. That's
yeah. Oh well. You gotta do your job.
Yeah. Exactly. I did see. Let me ask you this. So, any former or current WWE superstars or anybody from the States has gone to Italy that has given seminars or given has gone to to the Bologna Wrestling Team?
Oh yeah, many of them. I got seminar with. I actually wrestled also Mr. Anderson and Mike Verna at two enormous USA talents. So yeah, that was very good period of experience because when you're that early in your career, getting the chance to wrestle guys that have this experience and are always also this well connected in the United States is always good. Yeah, I got the best one was with Mr. Anderson, without a doubt, 100%. Another level. Then all the others were very good. I didn't have one seminar that I could complain about, and say I didn't really learn so much. All the others were really good, but I think Mr. Anderson was one step above of the others. I got seminar with Chris Masters, with Tajiri, with Tommaso Ciampa. I got seminar with Tom LaRufa. I got seminar with Joey Legend 2 times. I got seminar with All Snow. I got seminar with probably I'm missing somebody. But yeah, so yeah, it's not something out of the blue. It's not something completely new. I got some of that experience. I also helped Masters in one of the seminars too, because he knew me for. I did 2 seminars with Masters. One I did as a student, one I did as a helper because he knew me from the time behind, and it was an honor, of course, to be selected by a guy of his stature in wrestling to help do his job. It was really good. I hoped I'm gonna wrestle him one day. Yeah, he's a great guy. Is one of the best backstage presences from the guys that I used to watch on TV that I ever got, because he talks to you. He doesn't act like a superstar. He's a really chill, down to earth human being, and I love him.
Definitely, and he lives out here in Los Angeles, so it's
yeah, I know.
He's a very good friend for our other fellow friend from the Wrestling Guy store, and he's been right now trying to help also here in California, help out the program, the scene in SoCal, which is because speaking of the global pandemic, how I know you guys in Italy were really tough of shutting everything down. And I know it affect everyone in Italy. How did it affect yourself? Obviously, with not be able to train, not be able to do anything. But were you guys?
I'm going to go away from Italy for 1 second, because the real unfortunate stuff with the coronavirus was that this year should have been the biggest year in my career as far as the calendar was going, because I was booked like pretty much every weekend, pretty much every weekend all over Europe, with the UK being like resident place in terms of bookings, because I had one promotion that wanted to develop something out of me, which was Full Tilt Wrestling. And the very week that the lockdown started here in Italy should have been the week of my first match in the UK, in Newcastle at Full Tilt in March, and the show went on, but I couldn't fly to Italy, to the UK, because they banned people coming from northern Italy to work in the UK. Did they give me a refund for the flights? Of course not, because it was not a work flight. It was, so yeah, and 1 week after that news, 2 days after the show, lockdown, 2 months. It was heavy. I mean, it was not good. It was no good. It hurt. I'm not gonna lie. It was not easy to pick it back up psychologically. But then, like, when I understood how like bigger than us this was, and how we had to put ourselves in peace, because there was people struggling with something that was much heavier than losing a few bookings, or a good year for developing your career. When you understand that, you just feel actually lucky for what you have. And of course, definitely, I felt lucky when I got back into wrestling in 2020, because like if I had 100 euros to bet on 2020 or 2021, as far as starting back with shows, I would have gone definitely for 2021, when I see how bad the situation in Italy was. You guys really don't know how like wide the virus spread, because there's like this really commonplace, how you say commonplace in English, right? Like this common view of Italy being the country that first was affected, that didn't take the measures like had enough for time, and therefore was really struck, especially in northern Italy. But actually, we were the first one who found it, because like all over the world, it was spread already between like December and January 1st, probably. So like at the end of February, we was the first one who found it, and so the first one that had to deal with it. And nobody knew, from citizens to the government, nobody knew how to react to such news. Mistakes were made. Like I follow politics as well, and I could tell you stories that are like crazy, like how the government like actually try to fuck itself up, basically, like doing with this coronavirus thing. But yeah, they had to force a huge lockdown because the virus was spread as hell, especially in northern Italy. There was places in the south where the situation was not as pressured, and they really understood that that's what they had to do in order for the south to be prevented from having the same situation of the north. Because I don't know if you know it, but the northern part of Italy is the richest one. So the one that has also the best infrastructures, the hospitals, the good therapy places to go to for people to heal in huge numbers. And we were lucky that it exploded in the north, because if it exploded in the south, we would have been in a much worse place right now. So yeah, it's much bigger than us. I probably lost a good year of career, and hopefully not another like next year. Hopefully we're gonna have like a different situation, more free. Yeah, exactly. But what are you gonna do? I'm still gonna go ahead. I don't care. I'm not gonna give up. Like it's too much of love. If I look back from when I started, I had no idea that I could do this well of what I already did this well. I would have signed for half of what I did already. And now I'm I feel like I just started. I'm in the best shape of my career. I'm 29 years old. Let's go for it. Fuck it,
There you go. That's a great mentality. Never give up. That's a great passion right there.
Absolutely.
You got our support.
Hopefully it's going to work, guys. Hopefully it's going to work.
Definitely.
From Los Angeles to Bologna. So we're gonna get. My question's down to like a little bit of the technical side. What is your finishing move? Why did you choose it? And how did you develop your move set? You know, like
It's my weakest point. It's my weakest point. I have the final cut now, which I think it's good for me. I put on like 12 or 13 kilos in the last 5 years. So now I can actually lift legitimately people that are lighter or my same size or even kind of heavier sometimes.
what's
And I
the
can
final
do
cut
like,
similar to? Like
it's like a three-quarter, a delayed suplex neck breaker. So you basically, yeah, look at Goldust. Look at Goldust.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Yeah, it's a delayed suplex neck breaker. Yeah, it's a good move. I think it applies well to me now. The other moves that I used in the past as a final move did really not satisfy me. It was not something that really dwell my perspectives and my good points in the ring. And that's really unfortunate because probably that's one of the characteristics that I should improve and I should find something even better. But I didn't use it many times now, the final cut, because I started using it in late 2019, so I didn't have many chances. I won the tag team championship with Red Scorpion in Austria, but it was a ladder match, so there was no finishing move needed there. Yeah, other than that, it's not something that really that is really important to my character so far. So yeah, it's just that.
You lean towards like throws, strikes, high flying.
Strikes, kicks, definitely, and I try to use a lot of technique. Like this is one of the things that I'm regarded the most in my school, because like I remember the takedowns. I remember like for example the leg locks, this kind of stuff that we get taught through the years, but nobody gets like to use it, in matches and stuff. Sometimes instead I try to use this kind of stuff, and it works because that's something that strikes people. That's something that's not really used in independent wrestling anymore, because people want to do spots, flip, spots, flip, spots, flip. So when you do like a good leg lock takedown or a good like hammer lock takedown or good headlock takedown, people say, hey, this guy knows something about it. And that's one of my good points in terms of wrestling style, I think.
Grappling,
We've seen here in the States things like mixed martial arts being implemented more into wrestling. Has that happened over there in the scene in Italy?
No. Again, like our scene is very linked to the independent style, I'd say. Yeah. The independent style is what our scene looks up the most to. Not everybody, as I was saying. Bologna Wrestling Team is really focused on entertainment and on good technique. But yeah, that's I think the core point of wrestling in Italy as far as of now. There are wrestlers who train as martial artists. There are wrestlers who train in boxing, for example, and I should do that the same. I'm probably going to start real soon because it's useful and it improves some of the characteristics that a wrestler should have.
Definitely. Let me ask you another question. How's the fan base? When you're performing in front of the fans up there in Italy, how like are there like how it is here in the States or like they're UK? Like how do they react? How's the fans? Do they get loud? Do they curse you off, or like how passionate are those fans? When you perform?
It depends where you are. There are some. It depends what crowd you have in front of you. I think that's another seminar that I got, Carlito, that I quote now. He divided the kind of crowd into his theoretical seminar. He divided the kinds of crowd that you get in front of really hardcore wrestling crowd, drunk crowd, family crowd. It depends on the crowds. I think that like in a place where wrestling is not like really big, and sometimes you have to guide the audience through the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
When that's the case, it depends on what crowd you have in front of you. I wrestled in metal concerts. I wrestled in I don't know, places that look like restaurants, and people were eating, and yeah, it really depends. There's places where entertainment doesn't work, and people don't buy in the stuff that you try to show in order for the story to be believable. There's places where you say the most stupid shit that comes out of your mouth, and people start laughing, and you got them.
Yeah.
So it really depends. That's something that probably is more that we have in common more with the other scenes. There's hardcore crowds here as well. Rising Sun is one of the promotions, for example, that has the hardcore wrestling fans that want to see the wrestling and respect you if you try to put on a good match and try to give it all in the ring, and they can see when that happens. There are crowds that don't do that. There are crowds that are not educated to wrestling. They try to watch the show, and you have to be simple with them. And maybe some more entertainment works with them, and it works better than with other crowds. It depends.
Definitely. And how can you say like your character, like your character in the ring, like who do you think that you portray, like as, like, because I see your matches. I mean, you're that's why you're the pro wrestling's rebel beauty. That's why I love it, because I can tell that very cocky, I like that, very heelish, getting to the to the fans. And so, who can your character can you compare it to? Like who, for example, like anybody like in your mind that you could compare yourself to that character?
I don't know. It really depends. When I'm heel, I've got like many possible comparison, and I don't want to drop names because that would be probably like kind of presumptuous by myself.
Right.
Yeah, people, like my friends, for example, when they watch my matches, or people that I know, they would go, "Hey, the Italian Shawn Michaels," or "Hey, the Italian Dolph Ziggler." That's bullshit, man. I'm not at their level. I'm nowhere near the level. So yeah, why would I drop names like that? If not because my friends tell me that. There are elements, especially when I'm a heel, there are elements of other wrestlers. Yeah, the classic gimmicks that could apply to a character like mine. You can go with Recruit, Dashing Cody Rhodes. We can to not be Mr. Perfect, for example, not to be more with like as classical as the Shawn Michaels or Dolph Ziggler character. There is like, I don't know, a macchietta, basically not like very detailed, very well defined as probably the characters back in the 90s were. When I'm babyface, I like to think that I'm myself, because I really don't think when I'm babyface. When I'm babyface, I go out there. That's it. I feel that's working now, and I'm booked as babyface. In the UK, I was booked for the whole 2019 as a babyface in the UK, and I was booked as a babyface in Italy as well, in Switzerland. Now I'm booked as a babyface in Switzerland, and I think that's because of my personality. I like to think, at least, that being the babyface reflects the fact that I'm a good guy in real life, and therefore I don't want to think of what I'm going to do when I go out there and be babyface. And in fact, I don't plan, spots, or I don't plan stuff that has to get the crowd going. Hey, I am the good guy, cheer for me. It kind of works itself. So yeah, I of course, yeah, I take inspiration from wrestlers whose charisma, whose personality gets really well just being themselves. Matt Cross is probably the guy that that you see his heart going out of himself when he goes to the ring, and that's the spirit that I carry with me whenever I go to the ring. So if I have to say one inspirational guy, I would go with him nowadays. Then of course there are guys in the past that have done at least as good as he did, if not better. So yeah, but if I have to feel one spirit for being babyface, that would be Matt Cross probably.
Oh yeah. He's I met him before. He's really, really great.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I have a story with him. I wrestled him as well, and I should probably put it into No, how do you call this in English?
Quotation.
Okay, yeah. Quotes, yeah, exactly. Because he was in a Royal Rumble, and I had the spot with Angelico first. So yeah, I was really focused on the spot with Angelico, and I didn't know that I was staying in until Matt Cross came in the Rumble. The spot with Angelico was great. People clapped me, and I got compliments out of the show after the match. Hey, man, like, you proved you can stay in this league. Congratulations. But when Matt Cross came in, Angelico called me. Hey, bump and feed for Matt. I was in a corner, and I didn't get it. So Matt had to get me and splash me in the corner, and that really got his action slower, you know. So I did a kind of a mistake. It was not something huge, because it was not me forgetting something. I just didn't catch the call. You know what I mean? So he splashes me, he throws me to the other side, and he clotheslines me. I think that I get eliminated. So when we go backstage, I say, it was a pleasure to work with you. I'll see you next time. And he went, hey, man, see you around. Watch your feet next time. So I was like, fuck, you know, I wrestled in the same night, Angelico and Matt Cross, and these are two great performers, like two big names in contemporary wrestling, and now I get picked on because I did a mistake. So really, I didn't care after the show of like how good that night was, because I got to wrestle one of the biggest matches of my career. I was just really angry about Matt Cross picking on me, because I was sorry that I didn't catch the call, and I did that mistake, you know. This just like one bit of how much of a perfectionist I am, and yeah, that really ruined my night.
How about dream matches? Who would you like to face from the past or the present?
Okay, from the past, definitely Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yes.
100%. If I had to pick one guy that I'd like to wrestle, it would be a dream. Really, that would be a dream. Yeah, from the past. From now, that's a good question. There are many wrestlers I like. There are many opponents that I don't know. It depends on like if you put it like in a smart or in a marquee way. In a marquee way, like it would be me saying, "Hey, who would be the guy that I would like love to wrestle the most?" And I would probably go with, I don't know, Rob Van Dam, Eli Drake. I don't know, like
That's just a fact of life.
yeah, that's just a fact of life. It's not an insult. Damn right. Yeah. And that's probably like, you know, the mark guy in me speaking. If I have to say, like, who would be a good character to oppose to me right now in wrestling? I don't know. I'd say Walter. I'd say Walter, for example, because yeah, as he looks rude, he looks ugly, he looks savage, he looks bad, you know, and that would be probably a good matchup in terms of
a ring general.
styles. Yeah, even because I wouldn't with a guy like him that does very, you know, simple stuff and very good, you know, very, very good. I'd probably stay even more simpler than the simple style I already use. So that would probably be, you know, probably the match that I will learn the most with, and that would probably, like, I don't know, give me a chance to shine the most, because that would be the match where you, and without like doing many moves, or without doing like spots that really catch the attention, I'd have to wrestle a guy that, you know, does really, really good stuff in terms of fighting. So that would teach me a lot, and that would be a good proving point in my career. So I'd say I'd go for him if I had to choose one match, one really high level match that could put me on the map. For example, I don't know, in front of WWE crowd, or I don't know, in front of a large audience in any sense, you know, even like online or something like that.
And what about throughout your career, throughout your matches you had so far as of right now, which one has been your favorite? You know, that all
Mike Verna. He was great. Yep, it was great, and he's a great guy as well. He was. it was the only probably person that I knew the same night that he was going. I was sorry. I said, hey, I wish you could stay more time with me and teach me more stuff, and get me into the into how good your perception and your understanding of wrestling is. Because we had, I don't know, 1 hour to prepare the match. He was late for some reason. He's a great professional, so it was not because of him being, unprofessional or anything, but he was late, so we had really short time, and the match was great. The match was really, really good. He helped me a lot. He was willing to take anything. We told a great story. Unfortunately, I don't think it's online, but I should find it back on my archive or something like that. It was really, really good. It was really good, and he's very humble. He's available to take anything. He's willing to adapt to your style and to your knowledge of wrestling. I was like not even 3 years in my career back then, and yeah, he gave me one of my best matches. So that's my favorite. Because I think it was the best. Of course, as a memory, yeah, Ken Anderson. It was. I didn't sleep for 2 nights before the match. I was like, wow, this is actually happening. Yeah,
Anderson.
exactly. And I stole his entrance. I stole his entrance, by the way, in the match. That's online. Yeah, I stole his entrance, and it was really good. It was probably the best part in terms of actual wrestling. I was way behind this level, definitely, and it shows in the match. It shows in the match, but it couldn't be any different. It's pretty straightforward. I was barely 2 years into my career. It's pretty normal that you look like you're weaker than your Ken Anderson opponent. So I couldn't complain against myself. But yeah, in terms of entertainment, it was good enough for him to say, good work. He was happy about what I did. And Mike Verna, by the way, confirmed me that as well, because I was messaging him, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and he said, I just ran into Ken Anderson like last week backstage. We spoke about Italy, and he spoke very highly about you. So keep up the good work. And I was very happy, because he probably remembers me, and he definitely thinks that I did a good job if he talked good about myself with another guy. So, yeah. That's my answer.
Have you thought about maybe auditioning for NXT UK?
I never got my curriculum to WWE. I don't feel I'm ready, and I don't know if I want it. Yeah,
interesting.
WWE is. Should I go on record with it? All right, let's go. WWE is run by evil forces. Let's say that. And as much as I respect people like Sami Zayn, who can raise their voice there and say, hey, we're not all stupid Republicans, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about feeling that that's my goal, because do I really want going into a company, like working for a company that helped the Saudi Arabian regime have a good reputation on their citizens, when fucking women are not even allowed to go to school almost?
Yeah.
It's that those kind of contradictions really stay in my mind. I'm an activist in life. I don't know. You probably don't know that about me, but I'm left-wing activist in life. Everybody knows that about me, by the way, in the European wrestling. So it's not any like big news. I don't want to think that that's my dream job place. I would much rather go for AEW, where
there we go. I was about to ask that.
Where they started at least attempting to say, we're going to try to give better working conditions to the wrestlers. At least they tried to say that. And what did they do with Sammy Guevara when he got into the speaking out thing? Did they release him? No, they went into therapy. They got into therapy, and that's good. That's good. That's not the best, because of course you have somebody in your roster that said something so stupid and silly and fucked up towards the woman into a podcast. But you're not saying, hey, I don't want to, now I don't want to have anything to do with him, you know. He worked for us. He was bound to be like the greatest superstar in our company. But now that he said those things, then we don't want to do anything with him anymore, you know. You're not saying that. You're saying, hey, I'm going to try to help this guy. And I'm going to make people feel that even if he is a superstar, maybe he needs help. Maybe he's a human like us, you know, and that this approach is what I like. I definitely didn't like WWE approach because they always release guys and then they send him to therapy. Well, that's good, but you don't have the work relationship with him anymore because you don't want to, you know, dirty your face while you've done the worst kind of stuff that you ever did. I really wish like that I could speak about some of the WWE guys that know how, you know, the relationships with Saudi Arabia and with Trump, you know, are made up out of, because that's probably what, you know, really takes away the dream from me of working in such place. Like 10 years ago when I didn't really care about society, or like I wasn't old enough, you know, to understand how the world works. If you told me, would you like, what's your biggest dream? I would say probably, yeah, WrestleMania, definitely. Now I'm definitely not going to say that. I would love to have a great career in wrestling. I would love to make it to the point where I do a good living with it, and where I'm really respected and really, you know, busy wrestler in the international scene, also abroad, also somewhere else, or working for a company that I respect and that I feel it's good working for. But now my understanding and my perception of life and of how the world works tells me stay away from them, you know. Yeah. And does that mean that if they contact me and they say, hey, are you going to sign with us, I'm going to say no? I don't know. I probably not. I don't know. I'm probably going to have a try. But me reaching towards them is not something that I see right now.
I love that.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you say that because, you know, like 10 years ago it was a whole different story, but nowadays, you know, you mentioned AEW, there's Ring of Honor, there's New Japan, there's so many different places that you can go and actually make it without having to go to WWE. So it's a whole different world nowadays.
Yeah, and who knows, like in 10 years, how the world's going to be. And who knows if I'll make it anywhere, or like I'll stay in the level I am for my whole career. I hope it's going to go different, but I can't say anything about the future. Yeah, you made a very good point. Like, would you have said 10 years ago that we would have this much competition in the wrestling scene, and somebody like me would have a different dream than going to WWE? Yeah, we probably would have said no, that's not possible. That's never going to happen, like in a million years, because the WWE has the monopoly of everything. But now the story is different, and I hope to make a different story than myself, you know, dreaming straightforward because wrestling equals WWE. It's never been the same for me. And that's what I tried also to explain to my friends, to the people that like a good part of my life, you know, when they send me Donald Trump going into WrestleMania or going into the Hall of Fame. Hey, wrestling is not equal to WWE, man. I'm not doing this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's many reasons for me to you know, think that I should probably not reach WWE. If I get reached, like I don't want to feel, you know, hypocritical, you know, I don't want to like sound hypocritical. If they reach out, if they show interest to me, would that mean that I say no, like you guys can stay away from me? I don't know. Like I don't know if like I could afford something like that. Probably not.
Well, how do you feel about what like New Japan and working with them? Because for a while before AEW, they were considered number 2 in the world.
Yeah, there would be a definitely different place. I don't know much about New Japan, honestly. I don't really know. I never followed their scene, their wrestling style, and I know that their strong style has been into some controversies as well in terms of safety of the workers and stuff like that. But at least they're not implicated into the triangle between entertainment, politics, and show business industry in the U.S.
Jushin
Which
Thunder
is
Liger's on commentary.
sorry.
Jushin Thunder Liger's on
Oh,
commentary.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's
I read
a commentator.
Yeah, after he retired from New Japan, they made him a commentator. So now he's your daily commentator for New Japan now. So you see.
I read a line on Facebook that was probably one of the soundest I read this year. It said 2020 has been a shit show ever since Liger has retired. And that was perfect. That was perfect.
It is, because we all miss him, and he's a great professional wrestler. Oh man, we could talk. We could go stories with him.
Yeah. Let's not.
We love you, Liger.
Yeah,
we love Liger.
What speaking about the States, have you ever actually wrestled here, like in the U.S., like for example, like independent promotions here in the U.S.? Yeah, you ever wrestled before?
I've never went to the U.S. No, I've never made it to the U.S. I have contact. I know Verna. I know other guys. I don't know Masters, for example, well enough to message him because I didn't wrestle him. But if I wanted to, and if the historical period were different, I would probably try. I could probably try to get linked to some U.S. promotions and try to make myself some experience there. Also, there are Italian guys that I know. Mambo is one of them, and he's got a good contact into his area there, that is Pennsylvania, and he wrestles in North Carolina as well, I think. So in the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
I could try.
Might as well.
I don't know. Like it's not something that I could plan, as a short-term plan, because now you can't fly to the United States, basically. So, and there's shows, very few shows are going on, and it's not a boom period. It's not a good period for trying to pave your way around, and it's probably going to happen one day.
Yeah. Never say never, because it will happen, like
I really hope so.
Especially here in Southern California, we do have a lot of independent promotions here as well. Hopefully they reopen, and we have another one here that's just reopening back, which is called Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. That's another one. It's up in up north, right there in Ventura County in California. That's another company that they started off here, and they're getting big again. So check them out. They're on FITE TV. You can find them on YouTube. But Championship Wrestling. We actually interviewed. I don't know if you saw it. Our good friend Ray Rosas. So he's the one as well trying to keep the scene alive. And I'm glad that you and Red Scorpion are keeping that alive in Italy as well. And that's the beauty of it. That's what we're keeping the professional wrestling alive all over internationally, and not only just nationally but internationally. I'm grateful that you're doing it as well and teaching.
There's no other way. There's no other way. It's up on us to do that. And if we give up, like, a little piece of wrestling disappears every time. Like one wrestler that has experience, passion, and even talent, or is willing to do his miles and to lift his weights to improve his career. Every time one of us quits, it's a piece of wrestling going away. So that's what we have to do.
Very true. Very, very true. One more thing. Any funny stories while you were traveling? While you were going around traveling, going to each promotion. Yeah, any funny stories ever happened? You might want to.
Of course I do. I mean, What would be the funniest one? I don't know. You guys are ruining my career. I'm gonna go on record with another one that I should probably not tell, but whatever. It was my second show in UKWA, the promotion in Austria, where I'm champion now with Red Scorpion.
That's
we're driving
tag team
up there.
champions.
Yeah, we're tag team champions there. Yeah, we're driving up there, and we get called by Bambi Killer. Who's another wrestler who wrestled also in FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, and he's a legend of European wrestling. He's an institution. He's really one of the most known, especially in continental Europe, is one of the most known wrestlers and one of the most decorated. He wrestled in Japan. He wrestled everywhere. So we get called by him, and he said, "Hey, I'm home." He was not wrestling at the show. Hamo, you want to pass by? And of course, it was not calling me. It was calling Red Scorpion, who's my trainer, and he's the boss. He's the old man. And Red Scorpion said, "We can't say no." So we said, "Yes, let's go to his house." And we did a longer way, of course. Like we did a detour, and we did 1 more hour of driving towards Bambi's house. And in 1 hour, I drank, I think, 1 liter of beer without eating anything, and a liquor of something Austrian shot that I don't remember. And of course, I ate nothing, so I was empty stomach. I was drinking just because he was offering us stuff, and I couldn't say no again. Like just as the same as the question before. So I walk out of his house completely drunk, and I'm 3 hours away from the match, which is a tag team championship match against guys that I never wrestled, with a guy with a tag team partner that I never wrestled. So I get to the venue. I was struggling walking, honestly, like, because it was 5 p.m. and I don't drink that much, and I was ready to compete. I go to the washroom. I drink like 1 liter of water, big breath, wash my teeth, and then I say, okay, now you have to do this because there's a show going on. 300 people came. It was the biggest show of the promotion so far, and I was first match. After the pause, I was trying to remember everything, and eventually I did. The match was really good, and one of the guys that the match was good. I couldn't complain, and also the crowd really reacted well to our match. One of the guys who noticed backstage that I was drunk actually went to the promoter and said, "Nico did a really good job." And I was like, damn, this guy is really kind. Instead of picking on me because I showed up drunk to the show, the first and only time I did, because he was really good, and he said, he helped me also getting noticed and getting in good eyes in front of the promoter, and the rest is history. Because now I'm the champion of that promotion, and I've never done something like that. But one of my first approaches was in this kind of situation. So yeah, it was definitely a different way to approach a match, way to getting into a match. And I don't know. There are definitely other funny stories, but that's the most unique, because I never did something like that. I don't think it's professional. I don't think it's right to drink before the match. But that time it happened because I was at a wrestling legend's house, and it was full of cups, belts, and stuff, and all I could do was say wow when he showed like 1 big belt from Japan and drink. That's it.
But
we've heard of drunk kung fu, so why not drunk wrestling, right? So
well, there's many reasons why. There's many reasons why. Trust me. It's not good to be that way. I think. Where was Heroes of Wrestling? Was it Missouri, Mississippi? Was the Jake
no,
Roberts sad history, right?
oh yeah, that was in Missouri. That was in Missouri. Missouri.
In Missouri, yeah. If that lesson doesn't teach enough to wrestlers to stay away from alcohol and drugs when they wrestled or before wrestling, I don't know what does, honestly.
And that's what, yeah, like Jake the Snake, like Scott Hall, like
I was about to say,
the
yeah.
Scott Hall one was more worse because he couldn't even get in the ring, and like that's even.
The sad thing is they would be regarded as absolute legends of this industry if they didn't have this kind of problem, you know. And the only guy who probably saved himself in the long run was Jeff Hardy, because he was probably destined, you know, to be in the same league of drunk jackasses instead of being, you know, recognized as, because I'm not like, I don't want to sound, you know, aggressive towards these guys that probably had like very hard lives or something like that. But whenever a wrestling fan thinks about Scott Hall, Jake Roberts, these kind of people, you know, they think about their toxic relationship with substances because they exploited that thing in front of camera, because they made those mistakes that you shouldn't make anyway. You know, when you're a public character and when you portray yourself in a public scene, you know. So that doesn't take anything away from their wrestling. They're giants. They're incredible big superstars that I should probably watch even more to learn about their style and about how good they are, you know. But you can't help thinking about alcohol when you say the word Scott Hall, you know. So it's that's something that definitely teaches you, young wrestler, to stay away from this kind of stuff.
Exactly. Definitely.
If you want to be good enough, you know.
Definitely, yeah. If you want to make it in a business, because of that funny story, so that's where you got really big with you obviously with United Combat Wrestling Association. Now that you're a tag team champion with Red Scorpion, how that became about?
Sorry.
How did it became with UKWA? How did that?
Okay. Yeah, I got a good story for that as well. It's not as funny because it's a normal wrestling story, but it's probably the reason why we're champions right now. I was managing Red Scorpion in my 4th show for the company, so I was doing manager for him and then wrestling in a battle royal. So like when you're already on the 4th, 5th show for a promotion, you're saying, hey, they're using me as a manager, you're using me in a battle royal, you know, it's not the best. You want to like singles match, you want, you know, your time to shine, and you put your shit in, you know, do your moves and stuff. When and if you've got the approach of the guy that wants, you know, his time to shine. Instead, I luckily learned, especially in these occasions, in these opportunities that I've got outside of Italy, to take the most that I can take whenever something gets given to me. So the Red Scorpion manager thing went this well that they tried to pose as a tag team. Right after the first match, they said your chemistry as a comedy, you know, tag team works really well because you're the hysteric, bad, you know, the hysteric heel that really looks up to the big and, you know, pumped up wrestler, you know, that Red Scorpion is. And the fact that you're so silly makes Red Scorpion even better. You make him look better when you're paired to him, you know. So when they explained that to us, we said, hey, like, we could go as a tag team, and that's how it came about, you know. We did a good impression in terms of entertainment, and I think that's because I didn't underestimate, you know, how important could have been the role of the manager. Even though, of course, like if I had a singles match, I would have been happier before the show, definitely. But I did the best I could as a manager, and it worked, you know. That's something that I talked about even in the podcast in Italian. If I have to give one suggestion, so I know I'm nobody, probably somebody from, you know, the US is listening to me right now and they think I'm a stupid prick. But if I can give one hint, one suggestion to anybody who wants to hear from me, I would say give your best with everything you get given. You know, even if this is the smallest role, what is Brian Kendrick being remembered for the most? His kid with The Undertaker. When he did the thing with The Undertaker, you remember that when he went in the ring and he did Santa Claus and mailman, I don't remember, something like that.
Yeah, he was the mailman. Yeah.
He was the mailman with The Undertaker. And if there's something that an old school fan of SmackDown remembers about Brian Kendrick, he would say, hey, that's the guy that worked with The Undertaker, and he did so good that started out a career for him in WWE. So that was probably the smallest role, you know, that he ever got in a wrestling show, but he was with The Undertaker, and he was what he was given on that specific SmackDown, you know. And he did it so well that and my experience also should teach us probably that what we get given is the opportunity to get more in the future, you know. If you do well what you said, what you get said to do, then you're definitely going to do more in the future. They're going to trust you. Then they're going to put faith on you and put responsibility on you eventually. And that could lead you to success that you don't expect. Because I was doing manager 1 year ago, 1 year before the show when we won the championships. When me and Scorpio won the championships, I was doing manager with Crater.
Okay.
Just 1 year before. And you know how big things can change in 1 year? Well, there you go.
There you have it. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from Nico Narciso himself. Never give up on your dream. You have that passion for it, you know. And, you know, so you can give our viewers, or, you know, how can they find you? Give them your, you know, give them out your social media.
It's Nico Narciso _wrestler on Instagram. It's Nico Narciso on Facebook. It's Nico Narciso BWT on Twitter, although I don't use it that much. I don't use it at all, honestly. Twitter is big in the US and the UK, not Italy. Italy is only politics with Twitter. And even though I'm interested in politics, I don't want to do politics with Twitter. That's too much for me. It's on Nico Wrestling on YouTube, and whatever thing you want to learn of my career, those are the sources to go to. I've got merchandise, so if anybody is interested, just drop a message and I could ship worldwide t-shirts and postcards. And thank you very much for having me, guys. It was a very nice, very, very good interview with you, and I really hope to make it to the United States, to make it to Los Angeles, and live this the very good scene that I've learned.
We would love to have you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
We'll be there. We'll be there. We'll be supporting you.
Yeah.
We'll be there to help.
Okay.
Don't be surprised.
Okay,
don't be surprised if you mad.
Let's keep in touch, and I hope to have good updates about my career very, very soon. Thank you very much, guys. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here from Mr. Nico Narciso, Pro Wrestling's Rebel Beauty himself. So make sure I will put obviously his social media platforms on below the description. And once again, thank you so much, Nico, for joining us this evening. To everybody out there in Italy, I hope that you have friends who watch this. This will be up soon, so don't stay tuned. Anything you want to give shout out to anybody here or anybody that's watching at all, and in Italian, I would like to hear speak Italian.
Se mi state guardando dall'Italia, venite allo show della Pro Wrestling Live Events il 24 ottobre. Probabilmente, date come stanno andando le cose col coronavirus in Italia, sarà uno degli ultimi show nel nord, anche se in Svizzera comunque è in una parte molto vicina alle regioni del nord. Venite a vederlo perché sarà un bellissimo show e non vedo l'ora di farlo. È questo sabato, ci siamo, carichi.
Bellissimo.
Bellissimo. Molto bene.
Okay, how do you say circle debate in Italian?
Well,
that's tough, right?
there will not be an equivalent working as well in Italian as it does in English.
Tercio.
It would round table would be tavola rotonda. Round table would be tavola rotonda. So that's where I would go to translate it in a form that people would understand. I hope my English was good enough anyway, but I'm surprisingly okay with my performance. So I am satisfied, let's say, with my performance. So I hope the language was not a barrier.
No, it wasn't.
Not at
It was
all.
perfect.
Not at all.
Perfect. That's
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank
Again,
you, man.
Thank you.
really a pleasure.
No problem. See you next week, guys.